Insecticons transformed!
What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. For today's video, we're going to be checking out the Transformers Age of the Primes Deluxe class Venom. Based on the appearance of the original G1 toy, Venom is the official leader of the Insecticons, which so far have had a fantastic run. Firstly, there was Kickback, who really set the standard incredibly high. Then to complete the original trio, Shrapnel and Bombshell, which despite being retools of each other, were equally as impressive. They were then retooled again, this time into Barrage and Chop Shop, which alongside Ransack were the only Deluxe Insecticons to so far be updated. That was until this release. So as we whack an image of the original G1 box art, Venom is looking to be an incredibly faithful update, which is honestly kind of surprising as I expected him to be a retool of Waspinator. Instead, he's completely brand new, with the head sculpt in particular being incredibly distinctive. They also nailed the proportions of this guy. He looks exactly like the original toy, only this time with updated articulation. The detailing throughout the entire front of the figure is such a faithful recreation, meaning that as we spin him around to the back and again compare him against the design of the original, this honestly reminds me of an update from Missing Link. The only part of this guy's design that I wish they maybe would have modernised would have been the placement of the wings. Whilst visually these are accurate to the design, they do just kind of get in the way of the articulation, but honestly not to the point where it's a major deal breaker. Next up we turn to Barrage, which if I'm being honest, if it wasn't for Venom, would likely be my favourite of the team. He's an incredibly clever retool of Bombshell, with them having pretty much reversed the entire torso, meaning that as we flip him around to the back, he has arguably one of the cleanest profiles of all the Insecticons, and it's easily one of the more unique retools that I've seen over the past few years. Then we turn to Chop Shop, which of the three is the least visually interesting, but is still pretty accurate to his original toy. This guy is a very minor retool of Shrapnel, with them only really having changed the head sculpt and pincers. To be fair though, both him and Barrage do include some pretty cool accessories, which is a neat way of retaining accuracy without making too many modifications to the mold itself, leaving us with 3 Deluxe Insecticons which honestly look to rival the design of the original trio. Blasting through the accessories of the Insecticons, we'll start off firstly with Venom. He includes one blaster and an axe, the 2 weapons which were again seen originally with the G1 toy. In addition to being wielded separately, they can also be combined to form a much larger weapon, which I can just imagine Venom using to slice off the legs of Kickback. This leads us onto the accessories of the others. They include 2 sets of legs, then 6 individual blasters. Much like Shrapnel and Bombshell, most of these are really more so intended for their insect modes, although can also be used as some pretty convincing firepower. Diving into the articulation, as mentioned previously, these Insecticons really do remind me of what Takara is currently doing with Missing Link. All 3, with Venom in particular, are super faithful to the originals, yet articulate exactly as you would expect from a modern release. So the head can look up, down, rotate left to right. The shoulders can kick forward, backwards, and completely out to the side. The biceps can spin, with the elbows able to bend. The waist can rotate side to side. The hips can kick forward, backwards, and completely out to the side. The thighs can spin, with the knees able to bend way past 90. The foot can hinge forward, backwards, then finally inward. The Insecticons as a whole are an incredibly dynamic bunch of characters, but to see their true power, let's now put them through the pose test. Flying through some robot mode comparisons and going in order from tallest to smallest, up first is the Studio Series 86 Optimus Prime, Leader Class G1 Megatron, Deluxe Class Devastation Optimus Prime, Legacy Kickback, who I always believed was in charge of the original Insecticons. Instead, that title appears to go to Shrapnel, and between the two, who do you think is the true leader? Bombshell? Then finally for Venom, the 86 movie, Bumblebee. Then, as for some direct comparisons between Barrage and Bombshell, despite them looking distinctively different, they are mostly just repaints of each other, which really does just go to show how clever it was to reverse the torso. This guy now even has forward butterfly joints due to the shoulders being completely flipped. Whereas when it comes to the differences between these two, these are slightly less impressive, mainly due to them only being repaints of each other, with some very minor resculpting to the upper torso. Leading the way into the transformation, part of the charm of these Insecticons is despite them all being major upgrades in comparison to their original versions, the engineering of all three isn't too dissimilar to what we did see originally. So for the first step, take the fist and slide this back, doing the same for the second side. You'll now take the bicep and rotate them outward. You'll then firstly begin to bend the elbows back, then secondly forward. We can now take the wings and slide these forward to allow the shoulders to compress into the torso. Doing the same for the second side. With that complete, we can now slide the head back, with the same applying for the stinger. You'll then take the front part of the foot and slide this back, with the same applying for the second side. You'll now take the ankle and flip these to the underside. The thighs will now rotate inward. You'll then take this panel and flip it forward. The knees will now fold inside the shins, with the other side following to match. We can now snap them into place, combining the abdomen. You'll now take the arms and slide these back, doing the same for the second side. Next up, we turn to barrage. Take the fists and slide these inward. We can then pop open the chest plate and fold this upward. Take the shins and slide these to the side, with the foot hinging down and the knees folding around. With the same done for the second side, we can now slide these back, then combine them. These shoulders will then compress inward, with the forearms snapping into place. Then finally, we turn to chop shop. Take the fists and slide these inward. You'll then take these panels and cover the face, spin the torso around, take these panels and splay them open, then take the feet and slide these down, with the shins popping open, the knees flipping forward, then finally backward. Once complete, combine the legs, with the arms folding back and snapping into place, and that is the transformation now fully complete. Swarming through the battlefield of Cybertron, here is Venom, now fully transformed into his insect mode. And as we whack up an image of the original G1 toy, again, a pretty faithful recreation. Front, side to back, this guy's cicada mode appears to be a lot more convincing in comparison to the previous Insecticons. He is also arguably the most articulated, with the wings not only being able to splay open, but each leg even being fully ball jointed. The only part of the design that I think the original did better with would be the head sculpt, more specifically the gap that connects the neck to the torso. Had they just been able to find a way to cram an additional panel underneath the chest plate, which then could have flipped over this hinge, then honestly this would have been perfect. In terms of weapon storage, the two accessories can be stored along the side of the beast mode, giving him the ability to blast through his opponents, which is what he may want to do when it comes to barrage, as in comparison to his robot mode, you can definitely tell this guy is a bombshell retool. In comparison to the design of the original toy, this is the mode where I think this guy in particular does slightly begin to lose it. Fictionally, he's supposed to transform into a rhinoceros beetle, which from the front he does a great job in capturing, whereas from the back, unfortunately not so much. He really is just honestly a typical boxy G1 Insecticon. But alongside Chop Shop, I do think that for two exclusive retools, these guys overall turned out surprisingly good. Sure, they're not as accurate in comparison to Venom, but with all three paired alongside Ransack, I would be lying if I didn't say that visually, they were causing for some tough competition for the original trio. Buzzing through some insect comparisons, up first is the Studio Series 86 Optimus Prime, Leader Class G1 Megatron, Deluxe Class Devastation Optimus Prime, Kickback, Shrapnel, Bombshell, then the 86 Movie Bumblebee. As for Barrage, here is how he stacks up against Bombshell, then finally here is Chop Shop compared against Shrapnel. So, wrapping up on this review for the Transformers Age of the Primes Deluxe Class Venom. The figure overall is a fantastic entry into the lineup of Insecticons. In robot mode, he's an incredibly faithful recreation of the original G1 toy, and really does remind me of what Takara have been doing with their Missing Link line. The only part of this guy's design that I think could have maybe done with being slightly updated would have been the placement of the wings. Even the Beast mode for the most part is really well done, and stacked up against the rest of the Insecticons may just be the best one yet. As for the Doom and Destruction 2-pack, considering that both are retools of pre-existing characters, I think they did a pretty decent job in updating them. Barrage in particular looks fantastic in his robot mode, with, to be fair, Chop Shop following closely behind. I do think though that in comparison to the original versions, the insect forms do unfortunately fall kinda short, mostly in terms of how blocky they are from the back. With that being said, as a completed team, stacked up against the G1 Insecticons, these are definitely my favourite, as visually they are just so interesting. But I would love to get your thoughts, be sure to sound off below and let me know. As always, I thank you all so much for watching, and until my next video, I'll see you then. Transform and roll out!